Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele and I will be your angry nerd today. Or normally just a regular everyday nerd every other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Okay, so let's do a quick week in Bryan before we get into today's topic. I'm sure you clicked on the thumbnail and you're like, what the heck is going on? Bryan is not like this. Well, it happens sometimes. So let's week in Bryan. Apparently I have hiccups. Last week, got a little bit of gaming in. I got to I played in the Waking Realms D&D homebrew with my buddies, where I'm the Capoeira Cat Monk. It was a good session. Not a combat heavy section. A lot of discussion, a lot of planning, a lot of talking, a lot of learning about kind of the super epic next chapter. I don't know if you've been following. I've mentioned several times where I believed that game was kind of coming to a close. Last session made me think quite the opposite. I think Micah is planning on running this all the way out to level 20. I think that we are going to chase down some very crazy epic stuff, and we will just see where this takes us. I was not expecting it to go where the conversation went, and now we're chasing down some god artifacts. Who knew? Let's see. What else? Gaming wise, that's really it. I played some video games. Played some board game stuff with my kids. That's really it. It wasn't a lot going on gaming wise. Professionally, I finally got the full green light to go ahead and get started on my next Shadowrun novel. I am excited about that. More to come on that news. More to come in the Shadowrun world for me. My good friend Tommy Gofton over at Six Sides of Gaming, which you should check them out. They do a lot of really cool stream stuff. Just announced yesterday on his little True Talk that he and I are going to work hand in hand to do sometime over this next year, over 2023. We are going to try and figure out how to make kind of a 3-stage Shadowrun product. Basically an adventure book, or rather like a mission book, a novel, and a live stream that all kind of coincide, that at least star or co-star our favorite Shadowrun characters, where I will be portraying Hollywood, my elven cowboy Casanova gunslinger. He will be portraying his low-tech, high-tech face man, Chronostatic, and our good friend, the crazy conspiracy theory hacker Leroy, spelled with 2 E's, or with 2 3's. Will be joined by some other characters along the way, some other like kind of co-stars of the universe. It's neat. It's a neat idea. It's still a work in progress. We're still kind of figuring out how it's going to work, how the timing is going to be, when we're going to film stuff. I don't know. But it is definitely something that all parties involved are on board for. John and Jason over at Catalyst Game Labs, they think it's a cool idea. I think here in a month or so, we're probably going to meet up at one of the conventions and sit down and kind of figure out some of the logistics of it. Renegade right now, we are ramping up, getting ready for Renegade Con, which takes place not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend, which is our digital convention that Renegade basically, we get to talk a lot about the products coming out, And this one is dedicated to the first half of 2023. Basically, we're going to talk about, some new books, some new board games, some new card games, some stuff that's going to come out. I'm focused more on the Essence 20 side of things. I am going to be on the Power Rangers and Transformers panels on Saturday morning, and I think the second one's in the afternoon. But you can head over to renegadegames.com and take a look. We've got posted. You know what? I'll post the link to the schedule. I'll post it in the description of the video so you guys can follow along. I know we are dropping some really cool. We're going to show some cool art, and we are definitely going to drop some news about a product that we have not told anybody about. So stay tuned. Actually, I guess 2 products we haven't told anybody about. Cool. Yeah, so, and then as far as actual Renegade work goes, I've been doing a lot of proofing for books that are headed off to print. Getting a little bit of writing in, and while I can't say precisely what it is, I got some very good news from management that is gonna give me access to kind of spread my wings a little bit over at Renegade into another product line. I'm very excited about that for lots and lots of reasons, and when I can tell you more about that, I absolutely will. I will be crowing about it, so to speak. Aside from that, the only other thing that really takes up a lot of my time right now is Warzone. Warzone Eternal is ramping up toward some very, very cool news coming soon. I just sent out a bunch of new stuff to the playtesters to kind of get some things get some things finalized right before we sort of head toward looking at laying out the book and everything. It is really coming along. I have been, if you can hear in the background, I don't know if you can, I don't know if my microphone is quite sensitive enough to pick that up, but I have been printing figures, basically printing out Warzone figures to work with playtesting and demo gaming and things like that. So I'll probably be doing a lot of painting of those shortly. But I'm doing a lot of test prints on the models to make sure that they come out right, make sure they're the right size. Checking them against one another. Last thing we want is you put 2 models next to each other and the scale is just not quite right. We've all seen that before, where it's like, yes, as per the sculptor, the scale is correct, but one guy's in big bulky armor and the other person is wearing a leotard, but they're the same dimensions, and it's like that doesn't quite work right. That armored guy needs to be a little bit bigger, or that leotard wearing person needs to be a little bit smaller to make the scale true to one another. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm going through and kind of busted through all of our starter STLs and making sure that the stuff works, that the new sculpts look right, and hopefully we will get, when we get really, really close to when we want to be announcing things, we've got some really cool stuff to announce. So stay tuned on that, obviously. And I know Alex has got to be getting close to doing his, here's the new year, this is what we're doing, which I can't wait to start that conversation. It is just not my place to pull the trigger on that. The starter gun is firmly in Alex's hand, and I do not want to prematurely run over and start tapping things. On a personal level, weight loss is still going okay. My doctor's visit turned out to be just fine. I'm waiting to hear back from the sleep specialist to see if I need a sleep apnea machine or anything. But yeah, so I think pretty much everything is okay. I mean, the winter came back here in Indiana quickly. We got the last 2 days. We actually got dumped on some snow and bad roads and things. They canceled school yesterday. So we'll see. Yeah. So, the Week in Bryan is now moved on to today's topic. If you read the thumbnail, which I'm sure you did, I'm going to rant today. I'm going to vent a little bit. I had an excellent evening with an old friend of mine catching up last night, and we got catty, we got fussy, we got into it where we were able to set aside political correctness, set aside what our jobs require of us, set aside social media restrictions, have a couple of cocktails, and just let it out. And it felt really good. And it occurred to me that one of the things that we talked about, because we hadn't really gotten a lot of conversation in for the last couple of years, COVID, moving away, moving back, COVID, so forth and so on. And I brought up the channel. And one of the things that the channel started as was when I had lost my job at Coleman or Not, and everything seemed, miserable and whatever. I started this channel to help me fight my depression, to help me give me something to talk to and possibly help others. And it has absolutely, filled that role. It's done a great job. It also, as of late, I've actually gotten a couple of people who have sent me messages who said, hey, love your show, love to help out. Do you have a Patreon? Which I don't. I may start one eventually, but I don't know. What I did do though is I did open up a CashApp thing, because one of the viewers wanted to donate to Natalie's medical fund that I had set up, the GoFundMe I had set up last year. One little thing that you might not know about GoFundMes is that if they do not receive any incoming money over a certain amount of time, I don't know what that time is, I think it's 6 months, they basically they leave the page open, but it technically shuts down the account. And then you have to go in and reset everything back up and all that kind of stuff. So the viewer wanted to viewer wanted to do something nice. They had run into a little bit of a windfall and they wanted to help out, and so in order to do so, they were like, what's the address to the GoFundMe? And I said, well, GoFundMe is no longer active. And they said, well, what's your Cash App? And I said, I don't have one. So I went ahead and started a Cash App. And I will put that, I'll start putting that address in the description in case anyone else out there is feeling generous for the channel or for the family or whatever the case may be. Again, that is what it is. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's on the description now too. Talking to a couple of people about possibly being new sponsors to the show, so that will be very cool. If that happens, there'll be some new products to talk about and some new unboxings and things. But yeah, so super excited there. But yeah, we again, the channel's doing really well. But one of the things that it was originally designed to do was to help me with some of my, mental stress and whatnot, by helping others and by getting the poison out. So I was thinking, and I wanted to have a product today to show you, but it didn't end up happening. What I wanted to do is maybe take today and set aside my normal motto. Again, I firmly believe that you should try and leave every single room you enter a little happier than when you left it. But that does not mean being a martyr. It does not mean falling upon your sword so others will always be happier than you. Sometimes you have to take care of yourself, and you've got to align and focus and get your things together and get the bad stuff in the bad stuff column and the good stuff in the good stuff column. And that is what today is about. Today is about Bryan uncorking a little bit and breaking some of his own rules and ranting a little bit about the things that have just made me crazy for the last while, some lot longer than others. Now, I'm gonna say this is my caveat, my statement about this video is this is an emotional response. This is my perceptions, my opinions. They are not connected in any way to any of the companies or any of the sponsors or anything else. This is just my brain rattling in stuff popping out. Some of the things I'm going to say, people are probably not going to like. Some of my viewers are probably going to go, well. Some of the things I'm going to say, people are going to go, I didn't know that about you. And some of the things that I may try and be vague, because in this current age, sometimes things can be clipped and taken out of context and used against you. I am hoping none of you would do that to me, but you never know. There's always that possibility that someone is waiting for their chance to get back at me for I don't know, making the Red Ranger the leader. I don't know. But so I've assigned 10. That was glary. There are 10 scribbled down notes. Now, they are not in any particular order. So one of the things, my microphone got all stupid. Just because I say one thing is number one, it doesn't make me that I like or hate the situation, or it bothers me more than number 3 or number 6 or number 9. This was a stream of consciousness. This was me just writing things down and making this list so I could give you this information. I'm hoping that this is not just angry vitriol. I hope there's some good conversation that comes out of it, and I hope the comments say so. And just as a way to take a look at this before we get into my list, I do want to cover one final good thing about the week in Bryan before we get into the actual into my 10 angries. So the super epic awesome Christmas comment raffle prize made it to its winner, made it to Andrew, and as I requested, he sent over a video of the unboxing. I'm glad that it made it, that everything made it in intact and in peace, and I think he's happy about it. I hope so, but most of the time the comment raffle prizes is a much smaller box. It's just a couple of things. This was a big event. I wanted to do this as kind of a way to wrap out the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see Andrew opening up the Super Christmas Comment Raffle Prize.
Hi, this is the Super giveaway box from the December drawing for Tales Professional Nerd, and still taped up, so let's find out what's in it. not the intended prize, but it's always like the kid finding the box and being super happy with the box. I'll definitely find a use for a good reasonable pang like that. Hello, Hugh. So, that's awesome. It's a gigantic green dragon figure. Now I'll have to find some way to use this in a campaign, but I can find ways to throw dragons in there. Apparently it's already ready to be painted, so that's a good start. We've got the Animal Adventures RPG starting set. So this will be very interesting to open this up and find a new game and kind of give that a go, see where this takes us. Looks like it'll be very entertaining. Cats, dogs, a ruckus to ensue. A booklet called Dungeon in a Box. Just looking through it real quickly, it's a whole bunch of like starters for a dungeon, so that'll be a nice little campaign session all to go. Very cool. A 5th edition booklet on recovery dice. So I'm guessing that is alternate options for how to heal the party. That'll be very interesting to kind of spice things up, give it a little variation on it. Let's see. What do we have here? Ooh. We've got a Power Rangers themed DM screen. So, oh, and it's signed. Very cool. Thank you, Bryan, for signing that. Yeah, that'll be a very fun system to play. Very interesting. I haven't kept up with Power Rangers, but seeing all that's going on here, I'm gonna have to get back into that because this is gonna be very interesting. And here we've got the Munchkin Dungeon bag of holding, or box of holding. This is going to be awesome. I'm not familiar with this specific pack, but Munchkin is always a great series. Wow, also, if you've never hefted one of these, it's a pretty beefy game set. Slide that out of the way. And hiding underneath that is a similarly gigantic Munchkin set. This is going to be awesome. And I guess the hardest part is going to be making sure all the pieces go back in the correct box when I'm done playing with them. Awesome. Just making sure that there's nothing else hiding on the bottom here. And yeah, that is a very cool set of stuff. Well, I'm going to have some fun getting some paints to paint the green dragon, because that's going to be a fun project. Munchkin is always great. A whole new game set and a couple of different supplements to go with it. And a DM screen that also on the inside has a whole bunch of different Essence 20 rules and tips and tricks in here.
Pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope anybody who ends up getting raffle prizes over the course of the year from the show enjoy what they get. Sometimes it's random, sometimes it's something cool, sometimes it is me finding something in the studio and I go, man, I think somebody would love this. I hope that Andrew enjoys that Christmas prize. And I hope maybe you guys use that to spur yourselves and your friends on to like, share, comment, become part of the raffle. You know, you can win stuff like that too. But all right, here we go. Take a drink of my caffeinated bubbly water. And now let's talk about my grumpy list. Number 10, keyboard bravado and rabble rousers. This has been a big thing lately. I would say for definitely the last year or so, it's gotten worse. I think TikTok fuels that a great deal. But basically, people who use the anonymity of the internet to be jerks, to just poke the fire, to tell other people, you know, that they're wrong, they're horrible, make other just to spread evil, and hate, and even some people who think that they're doing it with good intentions. You know, they're like, this person's bad, and I'm gonna make sure everybody knows it every single time that they speak. All you're doing is throwing more negativity out there. And because people can't come to your door and go, hey, why are you being a jerk? You know, or why do you care that this person is enjoying this thing so much that you've got to get on there and shit all over it? Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I don't normally curse on this. There might be more of that in this video. I absolutely despise the fact that social media has turned into the worst parts of human nature are what get the likes, are what get the you know, oh, someone's having a bad time, hey, come, let me throw in on that. You know, someone posts something that's, I love this, they get 50 views. You post something about that is bad and you shouldn't be involved. Not only do you get 1,000 views, but you get 10 other people that are jumping in on your conversation to tell you you're wrong about your opinion about them being wrong. It's awful, and especially in this day and age where there are entire websites devoted to rumors that were, the only thing that substantiated the rumor was, I overheard a guy at a place say a thing, or my source, he's really real, I know this guy, he always knows what he's talking about. And then you spread that, and then someone else spreads that, and then someone else grabs that based off of a headline because it's too fast. It's so fast to just go click share rather than click read and go, wait, this guy isn't talking about anything at all. You know, this guy doesn't know anything what he's talking about. Or this product is evil. Stay away from this product. The company who makes this product, they're the worst. And then, you know, then subtly they're like, but you should totally do this product. You know, the one that pays me. Or you should do, you know, you should make, you know, don't go to this thing. Come watch this monetized thing that I have. It's horrible, and I hate it. I hate it. That people have become so ready to start the fights online, specifically online, because 90% of these people, if you were sitting at the table with them, if you went out to have a drink with them, if you were just sitting around, you know, at a game store, they wouldn't say half the things that they say. And it's part of it is that keyboard bravado I was talking about is the anonymity of, they're not going to come see me, they're not going to come punch me in the face, they're not going to, I don't have to look in someone's eyes and see the hurt in their eyes when I tell them, you're a terrible person for this thing that you do, or that this thing you may have done, or this thing I've heard you have done, because that's what sometimes it is. And I hate it. It makes me sick to my stomach to see people hurt by misinformation, by the inability to forgive, the inability to let things go, the inability to not get involved. I think that's the thing that makes me crazy. Number 9, condemnation by association. This has been big lately. For those people who pay attention to the tabletop gaming industry, the Wizards of the Coast kerfuffle with the OGL1 and 1.1 and 2.75 gigawatts, whatever. What began as a handful of people going, hey, I'm very concerned that WotC is overstepping their bounds, turned into 2 camps. Camp number 1, I want to make cool things and protect people in the industry so they can make cool things. Those guys I have no problem with. I think that that's awesome. I think taking steps to create good things, leaving a room, metaphorically speaking, a little happier than when you got there. That's what those guys are doing, and I think that that's rad and awesome. And there's the other camp of people that are taking this opportunity to say, WotC is evil, Hasbro is evil, D&D is evil. D&D, you play these games and you're just contributing to you're contributing to that evil. You're a bad person because you like these things. And you shouldn't. And instead, come like my thing. Come do my stuff. How about you recognize faults for what they are and don't condemn absolutely everybody involved? Another good example to this, the whole Harry Potter J.K. Rowling thing. So my take on this is that Harry Potter as a universe has brought more joy to countless adults, I don't know, park goers, video gamers, board gamers. I mean, literally, you can't go. It has become a household name of something that really was and is an awesome thing. Now, the person involved, the originator, J.K. Rowling, has shown some ugly sides of herself. But that does not completely vilify the license. It does not turn everything that Harry Potter is into this, evil playground where if you like it, you're the worst. People can find good and joy in in things that have negative attachments. If you look deep enough, everything has negative attachments. I myself, not a religious person. The Christian church, has done some horrible things, but there are also the wonderful things that it does. One of my close friends, Derek White, the geek preacher from TikTok fame and GaryCon, he's a preacher. He's literally in the church. I love the guy to death. He and I don't see eye to eye on faith, but that's fine. I also don't vilify him for all the horrible things that happen because of the church. Because I know that's not him. He didn't do that. He's not involved. Just like all of the hundreds and probably thousands of people involved with the Harry Potter franchise, they don't necessarily share that same shitty view that J.K. Rowling has said. And I think we have gotten to a point unfortunately, in society, at least in American society, I can't speak for the world around because I'm not there. Is that we've gotten to a point where something gets attached, and people use metaphors like if I said there was one poisoned Skittle in that bucket of Skittles, and would you still partake? Well, no, because that's poison, and that could kill me, and that's stupid. Liking Harry Potter isn't wrong. Buying a video game to enjoy, to get past some of of life's ugliness isn't wrong. You may choose that you don't want to support something, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine, and I support you. I support you to not support something else. That's fine. But when you vilify others just for liking something, that's where you and I have problems. That's where you and I maybe butt heads. Yes, I would have a problem if someone was like, I really like what J.K. Rowling had to say about this, because then you're literally taking that thing, you're taking the actual topic of conversation that she should be vilified for, and saying, thumbs up, I love that. And that's awful. But saying that I like the world she created, I like the aspects, I love Daniel Radcliffe, I love Rupert. I can't remember his last name. But like, I love their acting. I love the stuff that they put in. I love, I went down to the Universal Studios. I went down to Harry Potter World. It was amazing. It was breathtaking. Nowhere in that excursion did I ever feel or see anything anti-trans. Just because me and my family enjoyed that, some people would say, don't go do that again. Don't give them your money. Boycott this thing. I say, and I know I'm gonna catch flack for this, because there are gonna be people that are gonna be like, that's how boycotts work. Some people have to get hurt. That's not true. You're allowed to fight against something and not just be okay with the collateral damage. All right, I could spend all day on that, and I don't want to. Number 8, friendship apathy. This is something, like I had mentioned, where this kind of stemmed from is I got to hang out with my friend last night that I haven't really hung out with in years. And some of that was just an inability to connect. Some of it was COVID, all kinds of excuses. But at the end of our conversation, one of the things that we said was, we can't let that happen again. We can't let that stuff stride. Over the summer, I was literally brought to tears by one of my friends admitting to me that, I'm like a brother to him, and, God, I miss hanging out, and we only live an hour apart. And, I can't tell you the number of times that I'm an emo guy. I am. And I can't tell you how many times that I've brought myself to tears thinking about my friends that are so close, but they can't find the time to invite me to come do a thing because I'm an hour away. Or they'll be in town and they won't even think to be like, hey, let's grab a drink, because they're busy doing something else. And now, in some of these cases, I totally get it. If you've got plans, if it's set up, if it's, there's only so many things, you don't want to just invite yourself along to something else. I get that. But there is a certain apathy to, because it's not easy, because it's just enough of a struggle. It's better to do the easier thing than maintain good friendships. And it kills me to know, and I know that I've been guilty of it too, and it hurts me that I know that I've been part of that. But I have friends that at one point I know that hell, in one case I had bled for them, that I don't even talk to anymore, and some of it comes from distance, some of it comes from stupid disagreements. But at the end of it, a lot of it just comes from an inability to occasionally check up on someone and find out how they're doing. And realizing that maybe they're not on Facebook, and that means I have to get their phone number and call them, text them. And if that's too hard, if the other path is just easier and it damages those friendships along the way, I really feel that is, it's just wrong. And I know, like I said, I know I've been guilty of it. A lot of my ranting today, some of this stuff I've been guilty of, and I don't want people to think that I'm like trying to put myself on some pedestal. I've been bad too, and there are definitely friends of mine that I wish that I have stayed closer with, or been able to make more of an effort to come see them. And I can tell myself all day long that it's, well, we're a one-car household, or I'm dealing with, it's hard for me to get away because I work, constantly because I'm the only person bringing income in the house. And, a lot of that, yeah, that stuff's true. But sometimes that's excuses too. And this last weekend, one of my oldest friends, who we had a very, very, very bad falling out for a few years. But we came back around, and now he's again one of my closest friends. And he had his annual birthday party, and his annual birthday party is a big event. It always is. Well, it always was. We would get everybody together. It was a huge feast. He actually called it, for Lord of the Rings fans, you'll understand it, the 100-weight feast. And it was always amazing. I would see friends from, I'd see friends from other countries sometimes show up to these things, and we'd play video games, we'd play board games. Occasionally there was one 100 that we played 40K in the front room. I mean, like, it was a big event, and this year was a handful of people, and I could see the look on his face that there were people that should be, that really should be there, that had no excuse. And I felt good for myself. I felt good for my relationship with him, and I felt good knowing that I was there for him on his day of days, his big event. But I know there were people that should have been there. And for whatever reason, they weren't. And I can't think of many good reasons. There are a few. There are a couple people that should have been there that got COVID, and obviously they didn't want to be, gross and give everybody the creep and crud. But there were others that when I had asked, hey, I'll see you Saturday. Nah. What are you doing? Oh, I've got to do X. Just an hour? Just a few minutes? Stop in, give the guy a hug, let him know, hey, glad you're still around, glad we're still friends. All right. Number 7. This one is more of a personal thing because of my career, and that is armchair game designers. So, I am not saying that you should not be a game designer. I'm not saying that people out there, you shouldn't try your hand at it. Not at all. I think that if you've got an idea, make it happen. Is do it. Make your games. Become the game designer that do it. I wouldn't be here if I didn't take my shot. What I'm saying are the people who go, yeah, I just don't like this mechanic. I wish, it shouldn't be this way. Okay, well, what should it be like? Well, it should be better. How? I don't know, but better. Or my favorite is when someone is like, "This is the way I would do it. This is how we would This is how we would home rule it. This is how we would do it." Awesome, that's fine for your table, but trying to tell someone else or someone tell the community at large that X design is wrong, or this is stupid, or this doesn't work, or chances are good. Now it's possible there mistakes happen, but chances are good there have been more than one person involved. There's been a team of people. There's been at least play testing involved. They've shown what you say by saying this doesn't work. They've made it work. They've said this game is terrible because it doesn't function as written. Except there's hundreds of people that are playing it as written just fine. That's what I mean by armchair designers. The people who basically look at a game rule set, look at something, and either have nothing to add to it, nothing to try and help what their perceived issue, or those who just go, I don't like it, so it's bad, and nobody else should play it because it's bad. It's oh God, I hate this term. It's objectively wrong. It's objectively. What you're saying is that there has been an instance that you didn't like, and you're trying to make it that it's fact. That it's your opinion. It's your opinion. Now, if something really doesn't work, then that's what errata is for. That's what facts are for. That's what version 2s and such are for. And that stuff happens. But when your fact that something doesn't work is it doesn't work because you didn't let it do what it was supposed to do, or you didn't try to make it work, that's on you. And that's your problem, not the system's problem, not the game's problem, not the original designer's problem. Again, I knew this is a personal pet peeve for me, but it's just Essence 20's been out for over a year now, almost a year now, officially. And there were people initially that said this game is there it goes, there's that word, unplayable as is. Well, at this point there are at least a dozen live games. Some very popular social media people are starting their own Essence 20 games. There have been chronicles on Twitch that have been going pretty much since the beginning, and they're all having a great time. And they're not house ruling. They're playing it from the book. Yeah, they might need to look at the fact for a few weird things, but that's part of the system. That's part of every game has errors. Every product has issues, and that's why they put out erratas and facts. So, game's not unplayable. You just haven't figured out how to make it work, or you just don't like it. Which, again, totally okay for you not to like something. Just don't say that it's unplayable because you can't play it. Number 6, silence equaling guilt. This has really reared its head lately, especially because of the whole OGL debacle. Is everybody was initially screaming to the rooftops that WotC and Hasbro have they know what they've done. They're everything they're doing is evil because they haven't made a statement yet. Because social media took them by storm, and they have to think about their response because they have legal precedents to set. Because they've got a team of lawyers that are telling them, watch what you have to say. Because something that you have to say could reflect poorly on the potential situation as it unfolds. No. A company, a multi-billion-dollar company who has a lot more to lose if they open their mouth and just spout something out than TikToker B who says Hasbro is evil, you should play this other game, because they haven't denounced the leak of information. Sometimes people don't say things not because they're guilty or because they support some evil, horrible thing, but because they know they don't have anything to add to the situation. They don't have anything to help clarify the situation. And they don't want to be involved with the fallout of said situation. Hell, myself and several other game designers that I know personally had to put things on our Facebook and our Twitters that just said, hey, all you people suffering under the OGL or the whole OGL situation, my statement is, I want to wait and see what happens. I don't have an official statement at this time. The fact that there were people asking us to do that thing, just to say that much, that's ridiculous. What the hell does anybody care about my opinion? He says, as we're talking about the opinions of the Opinion Piece episode. Just because you don't have anything to say, or just because you're choosing not to say anything at this time, does not mean that you support it. It does not mean that you are automatically at fault because you haven't said that you weren't. There's so much more that could be going on beyond the click of the click of a cell phone and sitting in front of a camera for 2 seconds. There's so much more going on. And there are so many people that are so built up around their chunk, their entitlement over their fragment of the situation, that they feel that they're owed some kind of explanation. You've got to come forward and say something. When they're ready. Social media moves faster than legalese. It just does. And while eventually they did put out a statement, and others have done the same, sometimes those statements are not good enough, and it just causes more drama and more havoc. So I guess what I'm saying is, for me personally, while it would be nice if maybe someone just steps up and says, hey, we understand there's a situation, we're looking into it, then maybe that's enough. That's enough for now. Put away the torches and pitchforks until you know more. Don't automatically assume just because someone's keeping their mouth shut that they are on this, that they have something to hide. It might just be that they're not ready yet. Number 5, power gaming. I understand. I absolutely understand that there are people out there who just love to win. The WAAC, the whack players, the win at all cost players. I get it. This is more of a thing when it comes to, like, this is definitely in my game design realm of things, that there are definitely people who that thrill of the win, my skill check succeeded, my model outlasted your model, I won the tournament. That stuff, it feels good. We know that. It's a rush. But when you sacrifice other people's enjoyment, that, in my opinion, that is power gaming. Min-maxing your way to success. Finding the every loophole, using the term perfectly legal. Those things, yes, it leads you to victory. It leads you to that endorphin rush. Therein lies your personal serotonin. But what about everybody else in your wake? What about everybody else at the table? Everybody else in the tournament? Everyone else on that Reddit thread? Everyone else who has to deal with the fact that someone learned, I learned this new super crazy powerful ultra combo, and they're gonna have to change the game because I figured this out. Ha ha ha. Stop it. you're ruining other people's good time. It's fine for you and your table. It's fine for you and your friends. If your friends aren't slapping you because you're being some kind of whack jerk, that's awesome. Then you're in the right group. You're in the right room. You're having a good time. You're doing it right for you. But when you take that and you bring it to you put it online, you take it to your playtest group and go, I figured out the best thing, and it's totally unbeatable, and it's going to ruin everybody else's day. Think about what you're doing. You are taking away from someone else's good time just so you can. You're a joy thief. You're stealing other people's joy so you can have that rush. When there are ways for everyone to enjoy themselves. Everyone can have that rush. Everyone can have a good time. Even if they're losing, you can still play nice and have a good time. Unless they're a sore loser, but that's a different story. That's why power gaming for me is a pet peeve. And most recently, I'm not going to get into the specifics, but as a game designer, power gaming ruined some of my good time because a fundamental part of a game that I really loved this particular aspect of this game, but it has been ruined and will need to be changed for future versions because a power gamer said, there are other people out there like me and they're going to play it this way. I know there's not a good solution, but I hate it. And I hate the fact that something awesome is going to be left out of a game because the power gamers will ruin it. All right, number 4. This is one that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I do think that of most of the topics that I'm talking about today that make me a little crazy is the closest thing to probably getting people to yell at me in their own ways, and that is that I do believe that there is being too woke, but also there is being not woke enough, and there has to be a nice happy medium. There has to be a place where someone can say, I love adding diversity to my games. I love adding diversity to my stories, my medias, my comic books, my whatever. And that's awesome. But then on the other hand, it shouldn't be a forced issue. It shouldn't be, it should just be natural. It should be, and I know that I'm pipe dreaming here, is that it should just be natural that there are LGBTQ people in the world, and they should be part of the game, and they should be part of the universe, and part of the movie media. That's awesome. There should be BIPOC people in the same kind of representation. That should all be there. Just like there should be white people, there should be heterosexual people, there should be it should just all be. And like I said, I know that that's kind of a Nirvana pipe dream sort of thing. But when I hear statements like, oh, that's really cool, I hope another white guy doesn't get it. Or that person can't have a discussion on the topic, they're cisgender. Or cishet, or whatever. I believe cisgender is the right term. I'm not belittling, I honestly just, I think I may have gotten that wrong. Stopping the reality of conversation and debate and the ability to include some, because, or the ability, you're discluding something because you want to include something else, defeats the purpose. For me, anyway, in my head, and that's, you should want both. You should want everything. You should want it to be, and unless, of course, it's something that is focused. You know, like I'm being general here because I don't want to come off as like, you know, I don't want this in my things. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you know, if you have a story, I'm going to use the term. I'm going to use a comic book movie because it's one that's popped up recently. So Black Panther, specifically the second movie, the Wakanda Forever, was awesome. I liked it a lot. It had a few issues, but not what we're talking about. And because it is a movie about an Africa-based secluded nation versus another Mesoamerican secluded nation of Tezecan, Atlantis. Because we had these two cultures, no, we didn't. We totally didn't need any extra random white guys in there because the story didn't require it. And just throwing them in there for throwing them in their sake didn't seem kind of weird and kind of off. Now, having them included in the beginning, part of the UN, you know, because they should be there. That makes perfect sense. But like, if they just were like randomly had, you know, hey, gotta make sure you have those couple of white guys in there, that would be weird, right? It would seem odd because that's not the story that was being told. And as a natural feel, that's where that was. You know, if there was for instance, I have not seen it yet. I do actually want to see it. There's a movie called, was it Bros? That's it's a movie specifically about a group of homosexuals that are getting ready for a marriage and things. Again, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to get too deep in the plot. But like, that movie obviously is aimed at a particular, you know, demographic. That's the concept of the story. So I'm not saying that should be all meshy mesh. What I'm saying is, if you've got an average, here's a story, here's a movie, here's a game, then include. Be inclusive. Include all the things that you can that make sense for the story. Include. But don't vilify people who don't want to force or shoehorn in inclusion where it doesn't fit that part of the story or that particular thing. And I think that's what I meant by there is a place, there's an awesome place that I hope everyone as a human society can eventually get to, that is just universally included, and we basically see people where they need to be, and they are where they are as life has dictated. Not, let's get them here, let's push this here, let's make sure that's here, change that to this. And I think that it's because I would, and I'm sure someone's gonna let me know that it's because of, you know, from my position of you know, being the absolute central, you know, concept for the last 40 years, you know, straight white dude. But it is in my head, it is a problem when someone's like, here's this cool thing that's happening, man, I really hope that it's not a white guy. Man, I hear that and I go, wow, that really sucks for, you know, it sucks for the white guys, but it also it sucks that you have to make that statement. Why do you have to make that statement? Wouldn't it make more sense, instead of saying, man, I hope it's not a cis white guy, that you go, really cool if they found a person of color for that position, or I would love to have that, or I would love to see some more diversity in that lineup. That's awesome, and I would never have a problem with that. What I have a problem is when someone says, I don't want it to be one of these guys. I don't want to, because, you know, yeah, it's talking about how, you know, for the last forever, it's been a different way. But just because it's been a different way before doesn't make it right to vilify someone for their skin color now or their sexual orientation or anything like that. It's not a pendulum. It's not a, well, it's been really wrong before, so let's go ahead and be wrong this way now. No. Shoot for equality. Shoot for inclusion. Shoot for diversity. Shoot for it to make sense. But don't vilify. All right. I said I wasn't going to spend much time on that, but I did. Number 3, moot inquiries. This is probably one of my more minor ones. Moot inquiries for me is when someone asks your opinion, but they've already made up their mind. When a company reaches out to its employees and says, "We'd love to hear what you have to think," but they've already spent $10,000 setting up what it's going to actually be. Or when someone invites you into debate, invites you into a thematic debate, but there's no mind to be changed. No one's ever going to budge about this particular topic. That's a moot inquiry where I go, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Okay, never mind, it's stupid. You know, or you know, the smallest of moot inquiries. Where do you want to go to eat? You choose. But not that one. No, not that one. Oh, that's too heavy. Then choose. You know, like it's when someone is indecisive or wants to feign the I would like to know your opinion. I want to, you know, I really enjoy hearing what you have to say. But in the back of their head, they're already ready. They know what they've got. They know what they're doing. I would much rather someone just be decisive and plain and say, "Hey guys, we're doing it this way. If you don't like it, let's talk about it. But it's not changing. You know, let's discuss things. Let's make it easier for everyone involved rather than play this weird game of charades of, I want to hear what you have to say, but it's mostly just static in my brain." All right. Number 2. This one bugs me a ton right now because it's going to affect me personally. And most people are going to be like, okay. Conventions that share the same weekend. Very soon, I have Adepticon. And I'll be working at Adepticon because it is very important for a project that I'm working on. That same weekend is PAX East. Wasn't planning on going, but I do know a lot of people who are. WonderCon over on the West Coast. Again, seems like a really cool event, a really cool convention. Maybe someday I'll get out there. Definitely not going to be this time. But then also GaryCon, which is an hour and a half away from Adepticon. And as a professional nerd who lives their life in both worlds of miniature gaming and role-playing, both of those shows mean a lot to me. Professionally and personally. I've got friends at both places. I would love to be able to go to both of these shows. And this year I just can't. I can't swing it. I can't devote half and half time. I can't make it happen. And part of that, because these conventions share the same weekend, my wife can't go to GaryCon because honestly we can't afford to do 2 separate conventions and pay separate hotels and things. You know, we're a 1-car household, so what are we going to do? Drive up to Wisconsin or drive up to Lake Geneva, drop her off, and then come back 3 or 4 times? I really, really, really wish, especially in local areas where people, you know, there's no reason why those 2 shows have to be on the same weekend. I mean, it would still be bad if they were back-to-back weekends because of, you know, cost and time away and all that stuff, but at least it'd be doable. At least it would be potentially doable. There are not 2 of me, and there are a lot of other people out there that feel the same way. And also, unfortunately, what that does to both of these conventions is that it makes people pick sides. There are people that I'm going to miss terribly at GaryCon that I really, really wish that I could see, that I could squeeze and give them a big hug. There's events that I'm going to miss at GaryCon, but I can't miss out on work-related things. I can't drop everything and do that sort of thing. It's not possible. So it ends up leading to me feeling bad and having FOMO and wishing that I could be in both places, feeling bad that my wife can't go to GaryCon this year because, you know, it's just not feasible unless we both go to the same show. And she has no reason to go to Adepticon because she's not a miniatures gamer. Not to mention it's going to be all work for me anyway. It's just hard. And that's on my list of things that make me crazy is conventions that take place on the same weekend. When they're that close to each other, there's no good reason for it. Someone somewhere is being stubborn and is refusing to change. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to try and lay blame. It is what it is. And now the last one I'm going to talk about today, number one, again, not in any order, are people who try to gatekeep hobbying. Whether it is you don't understand this game, it's not it's too adult for you, or you're a Pathfinder player, so you obviously would like this game, or even just so much as you can't come play in this tournament or this event or this convention if your models aren't painted. I hate that. I'll openly admit Adepticon makes me crazy that they've got the painted rule and I understand a lot of people are like, I love it, I love it, I love it. You know, it means the tables are going to look pretty. No, that's not always. Now, good painters come out, and a lot of those tables look fantastic. But there are also going to be people out there that slap their 3 colors on their models because they just want to get in the door and play the game, because that's what they enjoy. They enjoy playing the game. And putting that restriction, there are people that maybe they've spent every single dime they've got putting together this army, so they would love to be able to play, but they don't have any paints, and they can't afford to paint. They can't afford to pay a painter, and maybe that they work 2 jobs, so they don't have time to paint their army. But you're being told that they can't play. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And it bothers me. You know, I have a friend of mine right now who has literally spent almost every bit of free time he has had for the last 6 months painting his army to the level of perfection that he wants. For personally, as a hobby painter, he's an amazing painter. He's fantastic at it, and he wants his army to look amazing. But as we get closer to Adepticon, he's stressing himself out. He's sleeping less. He's seeing fewer of his friends, socializing, because he's spending all this time painting. I've got to get all this stuff done in order to field the army he wants to field in the way that he wants to field it at a show, because it requires him to be painted. I hate that. I hate that level of gatekeeping. If you want to encourage people to paint, have amazing paint prizes. If you want to encourage people to costume for their LARP, have best costume awards. If you want people to stay in character during your live streams, have some kind of cool bonus, have some kind of reward for all of these awesome things. Don't have it as you can't come do this if you don't do this. Because all you're doing is keeping people out of your game. You're just keeping people out of your event that could be there, that could enjoy it a little bit more. And what if that's their first time wanting to be involved, and now suddenly they're like, well, yeah, maybe I don't want to get into insert random game because all of their events require you to be completely painted? Maybe that's not the case. It doesn't have to be the case. Might be. Might not be. Who knows? It falls under the category of people should be using gaming to get away from stress, get away from the rigors of their life. The hobby should be fun. It should be things that we escape to not that you need an escape from, because it's a requirement. And that's it. That's everything I want to rant about today. And I appreciate if you guys stuck with me throughout the whole video. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you'll comment. We'll have a conversation. This is the last video to get in for the January comment raffle prize. Next week, I will not have a video because I will be at Winter Fantasy up in Fort Wayne. But you will get a chance to possibly see me on Saturday if you tune into RenCon and to the panels that I'll be on. Either way, thanks for listening. I know today was a weird day. I just had to get some of the poison out and hope that maybe start up some cool conversations. Please don't hate me for my views. Don't cancel me for my views. And let's just keep the conversation going in the comment section. And most importantly, be safe, get vaccinated, get boosted, wear a mask if you have to. Leave every room, even this one, a little happier than when you got there, and play some games. We'll definitely see you on this channel in 2 weeks.